there, everyone. This is Carrie with Any Day Blessings, and today I have another homeschool flip through for you. That's the kind of stuff you can expect to find here, all things homeschool, flip throughs, curriculum choices, updates, and how we're using the curriculum, organization tips, you name it. Everything homeschool is what I mostly share here, with occasionally a video or two about frugal and thankful living. If that interests you, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button and like, so I know that you come here to find this kind of content. In today's video, I'm going to show you the Memoria Press literature guides. They really have made such a huge difference in our home, especially in the area of reading. But I want to not only just show you inside and show you how they progress. This is the second grade level, third to fourth grade level, and this is fourth grade. I want to show you how they progress so that you can kind of see maybe where your child places. But also, I wanted to use this opportunity to show you what I consider to be the number one lesson learned, the number one tip for teaching literature that I have learned this past year. And I will get into that as I'm going over this guide here. But I'm just going to hop in by showing you the second grade level book first. This is one of the guides that's scheduled in Memoria Press's second grade core. And I will leave a link below to the Memoria Press website where you can find all of these. Currently in the month of April, if you buy 6 of these, you get 15% off, and there is a free shipping code that does stack with that. And if you have a catalog at home, there is another coupon code in there too that will take $5 off your purchase. So lots of different savings for the month of April if you happen to be watching this right when I make it. But this, like I said, is scheduled in their second grade core. So this is, I guess, considered second grade level. This goes along, here, I'll show you the book it goes along with. It goes along with this book, okay? And this here is fairly thin, and the reading assignments for each day are very light for even a second grader, but certainly for my third grader, and that's who I used it for. Let me see. Oop, I zoomed in too much. Sorry, I hope I'm not making anybody a little dizzy there. Let me just kind of zoom in. This is the teacher guide, okay? So here's where I'm going to give you my number one lesson learned tip, okay? I buy the teacher's guides for these. Probably will continue to do that through fourth for sure, because I've already done that for fourth, but probably through fifth grade. I don't really intend to buy the student books for these until about the sixth grade level, and here's why. I have learned the hard way, unfortunately, that if I start off at my son's highest level of reading and ask him to then go and do comprehension questions and vocabulary and yada, 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 I'm losing him. I'm killing his love for reading, and I'm losing him. He's just going to zone out. So what I learned this year, and what I would suggest is my number one suggestion to you, is when you start any kind of literature analysis or reading guides of any kind, Memoria Press or otherwise, don't start at your child's ceiling for their reading level. My son is finishing up his third grade year, and this is the book he read, you guys, this week. This is not anywhere near what he can read. He actually is a very strong reader, and this is one lesson. Let me show you. 1, 2, 3. We're done. So that's what he would actually read in one sitting towards the end of his third grade year. Now, just before this, we read The Sword and the Tree, and we read a couple other chapter books. So it's not like he's been reading just this for the whole third grade year. But I wanted to introduce some more formal, the beginnings of literature analysis, more formal reading comprehension, vocab, all of that sort of thing. And I didn't want to tax out his little brain. I didn't want to make him use all his academic, intellectual muscles on decoding and understanding and fluency and all of those things. I wanted to make this part easy for him so that when I asked him to do something a little new, vocab, picking out themes, identifying exaggerations, identifying different literary terms. When I asked him to do those things, his brain muscles weren't already tired out because I didn't pick a book that was at his very top level. Now, if I wasn't doing this book with him, okay, I wouldn't have chosen to read a level of book like this. The only reason I chose that level of a book was because I wanted to introduce this guide to my son in preparation for next year when we're going to use some more difficult books along with the guides. So I wanted to introduce the process of, okay, we're going to study this story a little bit. So I did it in a more gentle way. Just how I have learned to do things. When my son when I pick books for my son, I don't pick books that are at his ceiling. I encourage him to pick books that are at his ceiling, that are on topics that he enjoys. So I'm actually seeing him read at a 4th, 5th grade level, but they're not the books that I've chosen for him. They're books that he chooses when it's his turn to pick. I pick a book, then he picks a book, then I pick a book, then he picks a book, and that's how we've done reading. When he picks, he is actually picking some books that are more difficult than what I would pick for him. But I'm not asking him to do anything but tell me what he read or tell me what you most enjoyed about this. And that's it. So he can use all those muscles of decoding, working on fluency, working on speed, working on understanding. He can use all those muscles because when he's done reading, he knows he doesn't have a whole nother assignment to do. So just my 2 cents. That's my tip for this video. All right, so let's take a look. I've had it on this screen for a while intentionally, so you could pause or go back and look at how a lesson will run. You saw, if you watched my 2-minute tip video, how I interpret that. I just look down here and pick out some phonics sounds that I want to review with my son, and I write some words on my little whiteboard. I write the vocabulary words there to kind of see if my son knows those ahead of time, and then after we read, I orally ask these questions. Now, sometimes down here in the discussion, in this particular guide, there were some drawing activities available. So those are, optional. You don't have to do them. This whole thing, anything in here is optional. But I chose to do them because my son actually likes to draw. So I want to point out that each chapter was about the 3 to 4 pages that I showed you earlier. And some of them are just on one day, but some of them are actually scheduled, if you were following this, some of them are scheduled for 2 days. So I didn't do it that way, okay? If I was doing this in 2nd grade, I probably would. I probably would just maybe have them read one day, and then I would have them read the 2nd day after some practice, and then come and do this. But that's how this book is set up. They have them doing this. They'll reread some of the stories 2 days, okay? Not always, but sometimes. Now, in the back of this level guide, they do have some phonics assessment practice and such back here that are scheduled at various points. Now, when you move up to the next level, the Moffat's book. Now, I apologize, I don't actually have the book, the readers for these last 2, because I'm hoping the libraries are going to open soon. I was planning to get these books from the library, and so I'm hoping that the libraries will open by the time we get to this book. But this one here is the Moffat's, and this one here is 3rd to 4th grade on their website. This is not part of a core. This one here is actually part of their alternate suggestions. They have several alternate suggestions in the back of the catalog. If you don't like the choices that come with the core, or you've already read them, they give you those alternate selections. So you see right here, things are a little bit different. When you come to here, or to this level, you still have the vocabulary, you still have the comprehension questions, and you still have some kind of enrichment. But there are some differences. Number one, there isn't assigned phonics practice every day. So when you come to do these lessons, if you still need to practice that phonics, you'll have to do that from another source. The second grade guides do have that phonics practice. One other thing I want to show you here too before I get too far, where it says here the quizzes and tests and such. If you purchase these guides directly from Memoria Press, those will come in a download to you as well. I just wanted to point that out. They are here, but you do get them in the download as well. Okay, so that was one thing that I noted right away is just the transition, to this next level. There's no phonics practice scheduled in this particular piece of Memoria Press's core. So that could be in other pieces, but if you're just using this, there's no phonics practice here. I do also notice that by the time you come to here, there's much more writing. They want you to answer the questions in complete sentences, even starting in the first guide, but by the time you get to here, it does have you do a lot more writing. There is a lot more copy work in here as well. They'll have you, as you see here, copy the second paragraph on page 65. Spelling, punctuation, and capitalization should be perfect. So they do have copy work in these. They do have some discussion questions that are meant to be done orally. These are meant to be done written, but I'll probably do these orally as well. I'll probably do these on my whiteboard again, you guys. This is probably what I'm going to do. Now you see I have just the teacher's guide here. I don't remember if I mentioned this at the beginning, but I actually don't plan to get my son a student version until about 6th grade. So I will probably just do this orally for the next couple years. There's one other thing. I want to get to the appendix in these, okay? So the appendix in this one was the phonics assessments, okay? So there wasn't a whole lot of extra material in the appendix. By the time you get up to the next level, there is quite a bit that they offer in the appendix. Some information about the author. They have some history tie-ins that give you the timeline of events related to the story. They have some additional books, like if they liked the time period that they read about and they were interested in some things happening in that time period. They give a suggested reading list, and then some visuals for some of the activities. Okay, some poetry there as well. You noted that there were some discussion questions meant for oral discussion. They do give you some talking points here if you need a little help. That's actually back here. That's one thing that I wish was different. I wish they would have just put these right up front where the rest of the answers and teacher suggestions were located. I wish that these would actually be in the lessons themselves, but that's no big deal. I guess you can put a little sticky and come back here. And then your tests are back here as well, with the answer keys behind it. Okay, so this would be the next step up. Now, by the time you get to the 4th grade level, one thing I note is that there aren't quite as many drawing exercises when you get up to this level. There were a few, but not that many. The same layout, okay. You have some introductory things to go over before you read, some vocabulary to practice, and comprehension questions, but again, no phonics or anything like that. So this is in the 4th grade core. There is one drawing page there, but I guess now see there's 2. After I said there's not as many, there's 2 right in a row. Oh, now look at that, 3. Maybe that was in the Moffat's, you guys. I know when I looked at one of them, maybe that was in the Moffat's guide. There weren't that many drawing pages, so maybe, yeah, because this one has all the drawing pages. So the Moffat's book doesn't really have that many opportunities to draw. And actually, I know this one on the website said 3rd to 4th grade, but I think because of the activities in here, like you see, there's been matching, there's been drawing, and things like that. I actually think maybe this one is slightly higher in skill when it comes to the activities that go along with each lesson, but they're pretty comparable, right along the same line. Okay, so this is what your children see. The answers start to get longer, and the appendix is the same, where they give the discussion, question, answers back here. Okay, this is actually this book here, Dangerous Journey. That is a retelling of Pilgrim's Progress. So this is a map of his journey that you could use as a visual, and then your discussion questions that come here as well as your quizzes. So those are the main differences I noted, just the style of activities as you progress up the levels. But the phonics really is the only teaching content that differs going from the 2nd grade level up to the 4th grade level. So I hope that was helpful to just see inside, to see kind of what activities your children will do. I'm going to zoom out here just a little bit. I hope that that my tip was helpful to you when you consider, bringing in this type of new skill. This is a new skill. Taking what they're reading, first of all, figuring out what they've read, and then taking what they're reading and beginning to break it down and analyze it and look for things that before now they've really not been asked to do. So I hope that tip was helpful to you. I'd love to hear any tips that you have in using these guides, because we're going to be doing these 2 next year, along with a 3rd one I think I have up in my closet. I think so. I forget. Well, do you ever get to the point where you forget what you bought and you just pull it all out to put it together and you're like, oh, I have that too. So I think I have a 3rd one for 4th grade, but I can't remember. And I'll be showing you all of the goodies I have for 4th grade. I've got one more box coming, and then I will put all that together and show you our final picks for 4th grade. But I had this here and wanted to do this quick flip through in case you are considering these and want to snag them while they're on special. So I hope this was helpful. Leave your comments down below, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care, everyone.